Hi, my name's Rowan.
Hi, my name is Alyssa.
And this is our podcast.
Today we are talking about the 24 things that we are leaving behind in 2024.
And as we were making this list, we were like going down and we were like, oh yeah, that's real, that's good. And they were like, wow, there's nothing funny on here. Like, it's all very serious.
Yeah, we realized as we were going through this that we had an actually really serious year.
I mean, I think we find the humor in it though.
We had a lot of growth this year. We had a lot of personal growth.
Yeah, we sure did.
Kick it off.
All right. The first thing that we are leaving in 2024 is people pleasing, or the need to feel like we have to help others for them to like us.
My biggest, so I never considered myself a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Necessarily. I never really related to that term. I think that it's because I don't fit the, norm people-pleasing personality. But I did this year kind of find myself realizing that I don't feel like I necessarily have value in a room if I'm not bringing something to the room. So I felt like that's kind of where I fell into the people-pleasing umbrella, because I'm not a kiss ass. That, you know what I mean? So I never really resonated with people-pleasing in the terms that most people do.
Yeah, the terms associated with it, that comes right to your mind. I agree with that, because I have some of the normal people-pleasing, but a majority of mine is I feel like I have to say yes and help in order to feel loved or wanted. If I get asked, hey, can you watch my kid? And in reality, it's okay, technically I have the time, but I really need to be working, but, I don't want to disappoint this person. It was this whole thing in my head every single time.
Yeah.
And I still do it. I think I've started to get better, but, going into 2025, I definitely want to be able to, recognize that the people in my life don't love me for what I do.
Yeah.
Or what I bring to the table. But that's hard.
Yeah. That was one that was, kind of hard for me to realize that I even struggled with.
Fair.
And so once I did realize that, it's fine for me to just exist and not have to provide value to everyone around me, tangible value that I just provide value by existing. That was
cherry on top.
That's a good one. That was a tough one.
It's hard.
A really big one for me this year was micromanaging. I tend to want to have control over every single aspect of everything. I have since I was literally a child. I don't know if it's being the firstborn. I don't know if it's the fact that I was parentified. I don't know if it's the fucking OCD. I don't know where exactly this stems from. But I want to be in control of everything always. And if I'm not in control of something, I spiral and I lose it and I start scrubbing baseboards.
It's just a foreign feeling for you.
I don't like it.
You don't know how to function without it a little bit, right?
Yes. It stresses me out to my core. My stomach hurts, my chest hurts. I am so uncomfortable with not being in control of something. Joy used to tell me all the time to just delegate when we worked together.
I don't like delegating.
And I would be no, I'd rather just do it myself.
I think we were both the person in the group project that had no problem taking control and being in charge of things because you wanted it done right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's me too.
And so this year I have kind of chilled out just a little bit. And started to go with the flow a smidge. It's still hard. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm a whole new person. But yesterday I got in the car with Bryson and he was like, okay, so where do you want to go? We were going to go look for chairs. And I was like, oh, just wherever. We'll just drive and stop wherever we see we want to go. And he was like, you don't have a list of stores you want to go into? And I was like, no, we'll just see a store and stop in.
Let's go with the vibes.
And he was like, oh, wow. And I was like, I know, character growth.
No, that's a good one. And it is hard. I don't know if micromanaging applies to me, but I definitely have a need for control. I feel like my anxiety, when it manifests, if I try to take control, it just really helps calm me down a little bit. When I write out my to-do list, I write a new to-do list every day, even if it's the same things like passing over, or continuing over. I will literally draw a line through something and put an arrow and like move it. And it just helps me organize my brain. And I do that with certain aspects of life too. Just, I feel like if I am in charge of it and on top of it, it'll like work out. But I think sometimes that causes me more stress. So I definitely need to I need to take a breath. I need to take a beat.
Yeah, no, I have had in my bedroom right now, I have notebooks from, I think all the way back from 2020 of schedules and to-do lists, from back when I was a stay-at-home mom, of what we were going to do for the day, and literally divided into household tasks, things I was doing with the kids, play dates we were having that day, if I had any appointments, literally broken down by the half hour.
It helps you feel better for some reason, but I think in the long run, it's actually not great.
It's for sure not great.
I don't know if there's actually science behind that, but I'm just going to pretend that, that's not great. But we've made baby steps. You've made great strides.
Thank you.
And we're leaving behind. We made the choice. It's written down and we're saying it on the internet, so it has to happen. That's the whole vibe with this
Everything
list.
on the internet is true.
Everything. I mean, yes. Obviously. I do think that's partially, though, why we're realistic with ourselves, because we're well, let's be real. What are we actually willing to work on more so? So some of these things are things we started the process of, I feel like. But next up, we are letting go of letting people take up mental space in our heads.
Care to elaborate?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I'm definitely one of those people that will autofill, as Ashley likes to say. I love that.
I use it all the time.
It's so good. I definitely autofill. So if, for example, okay, let's just tie it into, I said, no, I can't watch your kid because in reality I had to work, and then I don't hear from you, I would autofill, and it would take up so much mental space for me and bring me so much anxiety. And that happens in a lot of different areas for me, whether I'm waiting on an email from a client, or I feel like I left the house and I, said something a little jokingly offhand to Henry, and then my brain would be well, is he actually mad at me? It's just this anxiety spiral thing I do, and it doesn't always, have to be negative necessarily, but sometimes I just autofill and I keep it in my head, and I have to constantly remind myself that if someone is mad or upset with me, or if I did something, it's their responsibility to tell me, and I can't fix it just by going around in my head about it and letting it take up so much mental space and energy.
Yeah. Remember the day that I heard Ashley use that for the first time? Because that was something that I didn't even realize I did.
Yeah.
And I do it all the time, and it's something that I've had to work on, especially because I'm in a relationship with someone who likes to process his own feelings before he brings them to the table. And I had to tell him at one point, I was like, if you don't at least give me some kind of inkling, I understand that you need to process your feelings and, work through them before we sit down and talk about, but if you don't give me some sort of general statement, or just, you know what I mean? Some kind of small inkling of what's going on.
Even just hey, I'm processing.
Yeah.
Maybe not literally, but just I just need to, I promise
I am going to make up things in my head about what is happening in your head.
Yeah.
And it's going to take every ounce of my strength to not do that. So just give me a little
even
snippet.
A hand gesture would be great. Just thumbs up means I'm thinking.
Yeah, just a little something. Just give me a hey, we're good. I just need 10 minutes to collect my thoughts, and then we'll reconvene. But yeah, that was something I didn't even realize that I did.
Yeah, I think I've always kind of known that I let people take up space in my brain, but I didn't have words for it really until the last year or so. Next up is using our car as a trash can.
We're really bad at this.
We're really bad, and we like to blame it on our kids, but let's be honest, it's partially us.
This one's really bad. When do people have time to clean out their fucking cars?
I think people just keep their cars clean.
How?
I don't know. Because here's my thing. I will clean my car out, and then I will be on top of it, and then one thing happens, and then it seems like a million after that. Maybe Preston has a snack in the car, and then I leave a water bottle, an empty water bottle, something like that. Or I forgot to grab the shirt I had changed, whatever, and then it just piles up.
I just don't understand it.
I don't know. And it's bad.
If you guys have any tips or tricks for keeping your fucking car clean, please drop them below. Because
if you are like us, please validate us, because we have really gross cars. It gets bad. Like, I spilled coffee. Oh, God, I should not admit this. I spilled coffee, I have no idea how long ago, in my cup holder. And then it looked really gross because it was still hot. I mean, it wasn't summer. It was like, you know how hot this winter has been, okay? It was just a few weeks ago. But it didn't smell or anything. And I just, like, wiped it up the best I could. But I had to, keep going. And then it, looked, grimy. And so then I just put paper towels on top of it. And I've just been telling myself I'm going to clean my car. And I know you relate. And if you pretend you don't, I will bring up one specific instance.
The potions?
In the cup holder? Yes. To be fair, that was your kids. But, sometimes when you have kids and you're running around, you just...
Listen.
What happens is not our business in the back seat.
So, Jack is in the 3rd row right now by himself, which he's getting moved up. Because I don't know if... We've had 2 potion incidents now.
Oh, I didn't know about the second.
Yeah, so he's getting moved up.
Oh, my gosh.
And one time I got in the car and there was a horrid smell. I'm talking a awful, awful smell. And I was like, this is so bad. Usually, if there's kind of a stinky smell, it, goes away. You know what I mean?
You take something out and it's
fine.
Yeah.
So I, kind of cleaned up the car. I thought, maybe someone left, a snack in here or there is, whatever. I cleaned out the car and the smell was still there. And I was like, that's crazy. That's wild. Did someone shit on my carpet somewhere? That's the kind of smell we were working with. And I was like, where is this coming from? So I took it to the vacuum place and I was vacuuming out all the carpet. And the smell was still there. And I was like, what is going on? So in my van in the 3rd row, it wasn't even in the actual cup holder. It was in the compartment that's closed. I didn't even know my kids knew that these things existed. And so it's a hidden compartment. This man was back here making potions. And I said, what is this, Jack? And he said, my potions. And I said, you're fired. Please don't ever make potions in my van again.
Yeah.
And he's just back there sitting next to this concoction. How is he not back there not puking? Because I was all the way up in the front. I mean, that's a solid, 8-9 feet away?
And honestly, sometimes...
Nasty creatures.
I think it's really unfortunate, but you know how people say, you don't know if your own house smells? I think sometimes you don't know if your own car smells. So when you can smell it, you know it's bad.
Yes.
That's one of my worst fears. Not total side note, but I hate when people come over. I'm terrified my house smells. Because I feel no matter how much I clean or take the trash out or whattever, it's just there's something. There's gonna be something.
There's gonna be something.
But no. Let us know if you have any tips or tricks because we're not sure.
Okay, number 5 is Uber Eats. I deleted the app 2 months ago.
Was it 2 months ago already?
I feel like it was about 2 months ago.
That's pretty big.
I know.
I deleted it for a while and then we were eating at home. We went to Colorado in August and we ate at home pretty much until Thanksgiving, and then when we got home from Thanksgiving, we just haven't gotten back on it.
Yeah, I deleted Uber Eats because I opened up the app one time and saw how many dollars I had spent on Uber Eats in the last year, and I said, you know what, actually I don't think that that's necessary.
When you start to look at your finances and you compare it can be rough. But I will say it also sometimes can feel justified when you're looking at certain prices and what you're buying and if you're going to have leftovers because when you look at your grocery bill, you're feeding 4 because you have 3 kids. But when it's just Henry and I when Preston's at his dad's, sometimes we will be able to get something like a family meal from somewhere delivered for $50 and then it lasts us a few days. So sometimes it does make sense for us to do it. But it's a bad habit in itself because you get dependent on it and it's too easy to just not go back to cooking, which is actually, I guess we could just make that number 6 because that's on there.
Yeah.
Is we want to cook more in 2025. So we need to leave behind this whole not cooking food delivery thing.
Yes. I have been so bad about cooking at home.
It's when you're in the season of life where you're cooking consistently, it gets easier and easier every day and becomes a part of your routine.
Yes.
But when you get out of it, it's
I
rough.
just hate cooking at the apartment. I have really, really struggled with it since we moved in here.
How have you been at Bryson's? Do you cook there?
I do cook a little bit more there. Still not a whole bunch, but I think it's also because when I'm there, it's usually later. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting to Bryson's as early as you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's usually just the 2 of us versus all 5 of us.
That is different too. I don't cook as often when it's just me and Henry.
So I need to get back into cooking, especially because my kids eat.
Your kids can eat.
You know what I mean?
They're good.
They're good eaters, and they love to eat.
I think part of mine is that I'm always making Preston his separate meal anyway. I do try to get him to eat some of our stuff, but sometimes he won't even, like, if he can even smell my food, he won't eat at all. Like, it's, you know, his sensory stuff is very strong with that one, and so I'll definitely cook. Henry's been carrying our team with cooking for a while now, but I don't know. I like to eat what I cook. I don't know if you're that way. I like to eat what I cook.
Yeah.
I enjoy the food I make. That's the better way of saying that. So I do like it when I cook and have time to do that. But then I'm also like doing Preston's separate meals. It would be so much easier if you would just eat the same thing, and I could cook in bulk versus like having to figure out, okay, don't want to make too much of this because I want to have the right amount of leftovers, but Preston's not going to eat that. Like, it's just this stupid math in my head that makes me just go, don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
It's literally the biggest excuse. I know. It's not real, but
it feels real.
Feels real.
Yeah.
So leaving that behind, leaving that mentality behind.
Yeah. We need to get better about cooking.
We can try to hold each other accountable.
We can try.
We'll try. Number 6, being scared of failing.
This was something that we did good at this year.
Yeah. I think we're just carrying it over a little bit. I think we tried to have the mentality of do it scared, do it anyway this year.
Yeah.
Didn't stop it from still being scary. I think you and I both have a little bit of that perfectionism where we want to do everything correctly and we want to do it right and we want to be, I don't know, I wouldn't even say dependable, but we don't want to fail at anything.
No, ever.
It's like such a blanket statement because it's just every little thing we want to do it right and well, and like just it's hard on our brains.
Yeah. I have always like struggled with the idea of failing at something. Like, it's always been like the most scary thing. I don't know why.
I don't know either. I always really appreciated photography as a career choice for me because it really helped me grow in that a lot. I used to have such a hard time taking criticism, even constructive criticism. I feel like through photography, like, I mean, basically it's a career when you start out, you're not great. No matter how much knowledge you have, you're learning constantly. And I still am, even 8 years in. I'm constantly learning and growing because it is technically an art form, you know? And there's different styles, trends, things you realize, different ways your style evolves through the years. And so working in an industry where it's like art is subjective and I'm creating art, but I'm also on the customer service side of things where I'm also having a client that I need to please. I don't know, it kind of helped me stretch and grow, and I think that business wise I've gotten really great at the fear of failing. Like, it still gets to me sometimes, but I've been able to table it a little more in my head, and now it's just the personal side that just really still gets me. Yeah,
but we've done a good job this year of just saying fuck it. If we fail, we fail.
Yeah, we're trying. I don't know why that's so big for us.
I don't either.
It is interesting because a lot of these, like, they're big for both of us. There's a few that are more for you, more for me.
Yeah, this was a big one. And especially, like, the podcast, for example. This was a fucking learning curve.
Yeah.
We have already, I don't want to use the word failed, but, like, there's a lot of this has not worked out.
I mean, I don't know if we ever said it, but we had to record our first episode, like, 3 or 4 times.
Like, literally every technical difficulty we could have possibly hit in the beginning, we hit. I mean, there was one Saturday where both of us were like borderline in tears, so fucking frustrated because we couldn't, like, it was just one thing after another. There are so many episodes that we have recorded that have just been scratched because something went wrong and we didn't realize until after we sat here for an hour recording.
Yeah. And so it's like the hours, it's not wasted, but in the moments when you're just trying to get something out and done, like, it gets to you.
Yes.
So yeah. The first episode, it was literally like every technical difficulty, but like happened. Oh, first one. Okay. Was it mics? No, camera. Camera didn't work. And it looked like it was working the whole time. So we're like, oh, yay. Didn't work. So we re-recorded. Then my microphone was off. And then the third time, camera and microphones, everything was working. And then it just shut off halfway through the episode. And we didn't realize for a few minutes. Like, it was pretty quick. And then we just I think we gave up.
Yeah. We just said, fuck it.
Yeah. And I think we ended up putting out
audio only.
Yeah, for the first one.
Yes.
Our whole goal with this was to have video for everything, and we eventually do want to have YouTube videos up, but it's not that we don't, we understand what we need to do, but it's like making sure we can do it correctly, because we, as we just said, have a fear of failing, and we don't want to do it wrong.
Yes.
Which is probably silly.
Yeah. It's just, this has really tested. This has really tested our mental fortitude.
It's a great way to put it. Next up we have,
what is next?
Labels.
Labels, and this one is a weird one to word, though.
I know. We're leaving behind more like caring about labels. And for me, it's more so caring about the labels or the identity I find in labels.
Yeah.
Because for me, for a long time, I have always held a lot of identity, honestly, in my career, which is silly, but I felt like I didn't really have a lot of things that I was great at. I finished high school, tried to go to college, got pregnant, got married young. Like, it's not that any of these things are inherently wrong, but it's just like the way my life kind of panned out. It wasn't like I was graduating with honors or, I didn't have the correct, in quotes, timeline. And I think that once I found my career and it was something I loved and I was good at it, it just became a whole big portion of who I am. And then over the last couple of years, as we've all seen, with the way inflation and the economy, that also affects my industry because it is a luxury industry. It is a luxury business to have, in a sense, because not everybody can have a photographer or afford one, or, it just depends. But I kind of had to take a step back and realize that I'm more than my job title, and I'm still like a good, successful human outside of my job.
Yeah. I think that for me, so much of my identity was being a mom.
Yeah.
Because for the first couple years, I was just mom. And then once I went back to work, I was still mom. Like, they were there. And then in this last year, now that, they're with dad half the time. And then now that they're in school, they're not coming to work with me anymore. And so I'm spending so much time without 3 little goblins chasing me around. I'm still mom, obviously, but not having 3 goblins attached to me 90% of the time was a pretty big adjustment. Mm-hmm. And that was weird.
I get that.
That was really weird.
I feel like we've probably both heard, I don't know if it's a saying or just people just talk about how it's like you have to find who you are outside of your titles, like outside of being a mom or a wife or a business owner or whatever, fill in the blank. It's like, who's Alyssa?
Yeah.
Who's Rowan? No fucking clue.
No. I don't know.
Maybe
I don't
we'll
know
figure
her.
that one out in 2025.
I don't know who she is. She's a stranger.
She's a stranger. But that's a hard one. So we're trying, or we're going to leave behind. I don't remember what I said. I said it well at the beginning.
You did say it well in the beginning.
Sorry. Whatever I said in the beginning, we're leaving that behind. I feel like this is just gonna be a real honest episode.
We're not cutting this one, bitches.
No, you're getting us unfiltered. Oh, this one's more for me. In 2024, in 2025, I'm leaving behind my bad habits, which include, unfortunately, vaping.
I might cut back caffeine this year.
I won't cut back caffeine, but
I might a little bit.
I don't blame you. You do. I will say you were. I'm not calling you out, but you scared me at one point in our relationship. But you've been better.
I might cut it out a little bit.
Like,
Smidge.
what does that look like to you, though? Like, less Red Bull, less energy drink, less soda?
I don't know.
Oh, we haven't decided.
We haven't decided.
And it's still a might, isn't it?
It's still a might. It's a soft might.
You could do it. You could do it.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I won't cut back caffeine, but I really don't overconsume caffeine. I have one really strong cup of coffee in the morning. Why is that funny?
One really strong cup of coffee.
Why did you do the Anna Faris voice from The House Bunny?
I know, it just felt right.
I don't know. I mean, I say one really strong cup of coffee because it's not like I'm just... It is probably a lot of caffeine in the one cup is what I'm trying to say. But I don't consume it throughout the day.
I would have to assess how much caffeine I actually consume.
Yeah, I do understand that. I think that you've honestly cut back a lot over the last couple of years.
I feel like I have too.
Even in the last year, I feel like you cut back.
You
should assess it, and then we'll evaluate if you actually need to cut back. That's what we'll do.
Valid.
Yeah, but bad habits, for me, that is honestly vaping. It's not my proudest thing. And it's funny, though, because I don't really talk about it or, who's going on the internet and be like, vaping, I vape. It's not something you really, talk about. But if you know me, you probably know that I vape.
Watch my smoke rings.
Oh my gosh. When we in high school, when you'd go in the hookah bars and in the tornado.
I've never been to a hookah bar.
What? I do love a good hookah bar. I haven't been to one in a long time, but I do. It was fun in high school, but it's also, I don't know, it's fun. But I I guess my point is that it's not a secret that I vape, but it still feels kind of weird to like say it on a podcast, you know? But it's definitely something that I wanted to cut back for a while. And I definitely became victim to that whole, oh, I'll just hit someone else's vape if I'm drinking, or only when I'm drinking I'll vape, or whatever. And as bad habits happen, we all know. And it's not really that I haven't wanted to quit. It's just, I don't know. Like, it's just, I haven't been, it's so stupid, mentally prepared to, like, because I think when you're quitting anything that's addictive, it's just hard.
Yeah.
It's just going to be difficult. It was a couple weeks ago I called you and I was like, I think I'm like actually ready now. Like, I feel like you have to be ready to quit anything. And if you try to do it beforehand, then a lot of times you fail.
Yeah. And
so mentally preparing, as silly as it might sound, to quit vaping, it's been helping me.
Yeah.
So hold me to that, guys. Don't let me vape in 2025. Don't let me, I don't want to die. Number 9, borrowing tomorrow's problems.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
This is one I do all the time. I be stressing about the what ifs like no one's business.
Yeah, that's like your hamster wheel.
That's my hamster wheel.
Yeah.
I like literally will sit here and stress about things that are going to happen in 8 months.
That's so true.
I will sit here and literally, I mean, like, I do it all the time. I will sit here and make spreadsheets trying to solve problems that aren't even realistically going to be problems for another year.
And we don't even know where the year will take us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of my biggest things is that I like to think that I can solve a problem before I even have all the facts as to whether or not it's going to be a problem.
That ties in with your micromanaging control thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard.
Like, if you guys ever get access to my Google Drive, mind your business.
I only have access to 1 or 2 of them, and I know there's more.
Like, it is a scary place in there.
But it's an easy thing to do. You're not alone in it, but I understand why it gets to you.
I just feel better if I can just pull up a spreadsheet, put
You
everything
just feel
in the
calm. It's like you can breathe, like zen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Put everything in the column where it goes. Like, just, you know, and then all the, you know, it's just beautiful.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think mine ties in more with people. It does with work and stuff too, but my work is people based.
Yeah.
Or like anything to do with co-parenting, custody stuff. That gets me real good. I'll have a good spiral over that stuff. I definitely get a little, I just get scared of the future, but it's all things that aren't even real yet.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. Sometimes, sure, there's a good chance something could happen, but it's just, they're not tangible things that are actually happening. And so that's why I think it's important to like leave it behind.
Yeah.
We'll see how we do on that one.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Number 10, in 2024, we are avoiding the church.
It's ironic since like we kind of left the church, avoiding it.
We're going to figure out this Jesus shit again.
Yeah. We both have very different brands of religious trauma.
Yeah.
I feel like that's right.
I feel like that's fair.
Or different reasons we've shied away. But our hearts, I think, for God haven't really changed. It's just been finding the balance and figuring it out. And
yeah.
we've started treading. She's been doing great, actually. She's been going to church.
We've been going to church for a couple months now.
Yeah, for a couple months. I sat through a whole service and didn't feel the need to leave with her. Yeah. So that was good.
I don't think we've actually talked about church stuff on here very much
Not
yet.
much. I mean, I think I mentioned that I went to Bible college and have some religious trauma, but there's so much to unpack with that, and I think we will eventually talk about it more in depth for both of us. But we really want to go into 2025 and I don't know, find our peace with the church again.
Yeah,
find our peace.
It's something that's very important to both of us, I think.
Yeah.
But it's just...
And I think it's hard because I don't think either of us have ever, like, given up on our relationship with God or Jesus. Yeah. But it's more so that when we've struggled and backed away from the church, or, like, when we say from the church, like, kind of like going to church, being a part of the community, like that aspect, you know? I think that it's sometimes brought up more questions for us. And then we kind of get, like, this in-between. And you see all the stuff online about deconstructing, and we can, like, see some of it and feel validated with it. But then we can also see stuff on the other side where we're also like, we're wanting that, and we want this life, I don't know, like the community, that's what I'm looking for. Like, we want this community, and we just need to find the balance of what we believe personally with also God and how it lines up, but it's hard to find.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did I put that
We're
right?
going to figure it out this year.
Like, I don't know if I put that correctly, but...
We're going to figure it out this year.
Figuring Jesus out.
Yeah, because what's next?
11.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
That's a good one.
And I don't think we mean this in the literal sense.
No. Because usually that's in reference to, like, trying to have, like, the all-new house decor. We're all rich, bougie. Like, it's not literally, but something more about, like, trying to be at the same level as, like, your rich neighbors, basically, I think.
Yeah, and we don't mean this, like, in the literal sense. Because neither of us will be buying new cars anytime soon.
For sure, no.
I think that we mean this more in, like, for example, like, we were just talking about this the other day. Back in the day when I would have play dates all the time, I would always keep dishes in my sink.
Yeah.
And actually, it's so funny because I was talking... Remember how the other day I was telling you about that YouTube video that I was watching that me and Dylan did?
Yeah.
He talked about how I always let people come over with dishes in the sink.
He didn't know.
And he didn't know. And how he thought it was crazy because that was so embarrassing.
That's so funny.
I know, because he didn't know the reason why. So anytime that I would have play dates, I would always leave dishes in the sink. And the reason that I would always leave dishes in the sink is because I did not ever want a new mom to come into my house and feel bad about the state of her own house because my house was cleaner than hers. Because I had done that. I had gone over to a friend's house and it was pristine. And I had felt like I could never invite that friend over to our house because there's no way that, I'm not going to say that my house was clean everywhere else except the dishes. Like, you know what I mean? We definitely lived in our house. But, like, I always made it look like like, I never went above and beyond in cleaning my house before a play date.
You didn't do the whole thing where you spend all day cleaning and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, the house is a mess.
No, yes. My house looked like it was lived in, right? And maybe it wasn't always the dishes, but, like, the dishes is just an easy example. Last weekend, very last minute, the kids asked if we could have a play date with one of their little friends who lives in our apartment complex. And I said, you know what? Yeah, it's Christmas break. Why not? And I invited her over, and we actually had been cleaning because I knew that we were going to be gone for a couple days, and I didn't want to come home to a disaster. Still very much was a disaster in here because the kids were playing It's Christmas break. But I was, like, putting away laundry and, like, cleaning their rooms and that kind of stuff. So that it was, like, very much in a mid-state where, like, half the apartment was clean and the half of it was still a wreck. And she walked in, and she goes... wow, this makes me feel so much better about what my apartment looks like right now.
Yep. And did that validate your,
and
your thoughts all along?
Yes. And, like, that's what I mean. Like, that's what I mean keeping up with the Joneses. Like, I don't want to ever make someone feel like they need to stretch themselves thin
to meet you.
To meet me. You know what I mean? I don't want anyone to ever walk into my house, my apartment, whatever, meet us at a play date and think, wow, she's got her shit together. I feel so bad about myself.
Yeah, and I want to make them feel like they're competing with you.
Yes, and I'm for one never going to feel that way about another person. Like, I'm not going to want to spend time with someone who makes me feel that way about myself.
I agree. I definitely see that and feel that way. And I also just kind of like, I think it's natural for a lot of us to do is we do compare our lives to others. And so I just want to keep myself accountable to that and remember like what you're seeing is not always what's really going on. And just because they have XYZ doesn't mean you need to have it or whatever that looks like. Just reality check and being real and having safe places and not caring.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not the definition, but it's our version.
It's our version. That's what
counts.
It's what we both knew it meant.
Yeah, we understood. Same level. This one is more so for me, but thinking that I'm dying every time a minor medical inconvenience thing happens.
You're not that special.
Not that special. I have severe medical anxiety, which I know I've kind of alluded to, but it's bad where my body will literally like start to like it's a panic attack. Like obviously I know that, but it basically mimics dying every time something medical happens to me, and so it just like reinforces that anxiety. You know what I'm talking about.
Do.
And so I have to call people to keep me accountable sometimes. This is so embarrassing, but I'm going to share it real quick. My jaw locked up really bad last week. I have super bad TMJ, like so bad, but it's something that I live with. And as if you have it or any jaw issues, you know it, you just kind of get used to it a little bit. The tightness, the cracking, the popping. But my jaw locked up so severely that I could barely talk or move. And it was like, the only way I can describe it is it felt like my jaw was trying to crush itself. Like it was that bad. And I had to call my sister because I was driving to a session and somehow the idea in my head got dropped that, oh, lockjaw's a part of tetanus what if I think at first I thought rabies too. I was like, I couldn't remember if it was a symptom. No,
I know.
I couldn't remember. I was driving in that moment. I couldn't Google is lockjaw a sign of rabies, but I knew tetanus for sure. And so even though I literally had a Tdap shot, not even like I'm within the same, I got a Tdap shot like, I don't know, 7 years ago, something like that. I don't really know if you can still get tetanus or not. I don't fucking know. And so I'm just sitting here panicking and like I'm trying to keep myself calm. And the long story short is like I finally had to just call my sister and she had to like look up symptoms of rabies, symptoms of tetanus, convince me I didn't have it, all so I could go to freaking work and stay sane and not like it was bad.
You called me and you were like, I think I have tetanus. And I was like, did you step on a rusty nail? And you were like, no, but I still could have it. And I was like, okay.
And it's so funny. And I think we can laugh about it because when it's happening, it's very real to me. It is. It's like, it brings me to hysterics sometimes. It doesn't happen super often to the point of hysterics, but when it happens, it's bad.
I know.
And so that is something I definitely am leaving behind in 2024. I am going to start trusting my body and intuition a little bit better. I'm going to try. Like, if I even have an inkling that I'm not actually dying, I'm going to try to trust that.
Okay.
We're going to see.
Okay.
It used to be way worse. I used to make people Google stuff for me, like WebMD stuff for me. Like, I don't know. I wanted confirmation bias. That's what happens. I need confirmation bias when I'm feeling that way.
I love you.
Or I need someone who, like, loves me, like you or Kenna, to just sit there with me and tell me I'm crazy in the sweetest way possible. Because it grounds me in that moment.
I know.
Because if you just say, you don't have tetanus, shut up, that's not going to help me. But if you, like, go there and you read me something, it helps.
I know.
It's so silly. But anyway, that's a goal. We'll see about that one. Overcommitting and learning to say no.
You're looking at me like I struggle with this one more than you do.
I was just looking at you. You're beautiful.
I do struggle with this one. I do. I just like to keep a packed schedule. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I know this one seems a little similar to the people-pleasing thing, but I feel like it's a little different because...
It is a little different.
The people-pleasing one is more so like the value we hold. Like, that's more of the emotional side of it. Like, we're people-pleasing because of the value we think we hold, and we want to make sure that we're helpful or taking up space in the right way, and, you know, just learning that we need to exist, or it's okay to exist and just be, you know, on us without all these extra bells and whistles. But
I overcommit because I'm an extrovert, and in the moment it sounds like a lot of fun, and then the time comes and I realize that I have a pile of laundry that I haven't done, and dishes that I should probably do, but I can't because I committed to 2 play dates in one day.
And it's like, yesterday you totally thought you could do it. It sounds so fair and reasonable at the time. Yeah. I'm always mad at past Rowan, but sometimes I will even say, I'm like, that's a future Rowan problem.
Yeah.
But then the future comes and it's real rough.
I say that like literally on a daily basis. Future Alyssa can deal with that.
Yeah.
And future Alyssa hates past Alyssa.
Yeah, so we need to leave that behind.
Number 14 is being hard on ourselves as mothers. I feel like this is one that I never super duper struggled with until this year.
Yeah. What do you think changed?
I mean, my kids got older.
It was just the season they entered into.
I think that as my children are becoming more emotionally complex.
That's a good way to phrase that.
I am struggling a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it was easier when, like, their only emotions were, like, happy, sad, dinosaur. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I didn't have any, like, real intense mom guilt or, like, anything like that. Like, it was very simple for me. And now that we have, like, these really complex emotions and, like, we know how to mask and we can turn it on and we can turn it off and we open up to some people and we don't open up to other people. And, like, now that we have all of these different things and, like, now I'm like, oh my gosh, that's overwhelming.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Well, and you have it times 3.
Yeah.
I know a lot of parents have multiple children, but I think I always emphasize it for you because they are so close in age. They could be triplets.
Yeah.
They're technically, like, Irish twins with twins.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So that's a big, like, I don't know, big plate.
I feel like this was the first year where I actually, like, felt any kind of mom guilt. And I remember the first time that I did, I called you and I was like, you do this so often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, you put yourself through this so much.
I don't know why I do it. It's like second nature. I think that's why it's a big one for me, is that I really want to stop second guessing myself.
Yeah.
And trust that the years I've spent pouring into my child have meant something. And just because we're having a harder day or moment and I'm enforcing the boundaries that need to be enforced or whatever that looks like, that it is okay. I'm still a good mom. Yeah. And he still knows I love him. We've talked about this a little bit, but I think a lot of people in Preston's life, including myself, but like grandparents specifically, sometimes they do, what's the word I use? I guess we kind of like victimize Preston a little, even if it's not so literally. We, in our heads, have seen that he's had a little bit of a harder trajectory, like due to certain things in his own life, but also in the dynamics that have played out because it was a high conflict marriage and divorce. I think it's, we've seen it unfold, and it's been easy for us to just kind of go, okay, he needs a little extra coddling here, a little softness there, but you've got to be so careful with that too, because the opposite end of it can, it can create further issues. And so as he's gotten a little older, it was okay when he was a little bit littler, like when he was a toddler, you know what I mean? Like toddlers do need that love, safety, security, and coddling to an extent. But then he got a little older, and if you kept doing that kind of stuff, it kind of enabled him to some I don't know. I don't like the word bad behavior because I don't think he's a bad kid. I just mean like, I don't know. It made it harder as a parent of a 6, now almost 7-year-old child. So that when I am enforcing boundaries and we're doing the things we need to do and something happens and he has feelings about it, it's hard for me to not take that guilt on. Yeah. I just really take it to heart. And it's something that I've been working on for the last couple of years, as he went from toddler to kid, even though he still feels like a baby in my head. I just do it all the time. And I want to leave that behind. I want to trust myself and our bond and everything we've instilled so far.
Yeah. Number 15, talking negatively about ourselves. I feel like we also did really good with this year.
I think so.
I feel like we took big strides in this department this year.
I feel like we kind of came to, not necessarily, it wasn't a place of body positivity, it was like body neutrality. Like we gave ourselves grace. Yeah. And I think for the first time in the last year or so, we've kind of gotten to the place of, this is my body and I'm allowed to exist in this body.
I feel like we had bigger things to worry about. Yeah. And it just was kind of put on the back burner. And then by the time everything else kind of calmed down, we were just like, it's actually not that bad. It's all right. It's not that deep.
And we focused on trying to take care of ourselves rather than make ourselves thinner. Yeah. Like, because I know that's a thing that we've both done in the past where we thought being skinny was the most important thing in the world. Yeah. And like you said, we had more important things to worry about. So I think instead of focusing on trying to be skinny, fit, whatever, we focused on healthier eating, fueling our body, feeling good. And we haven't been perfect at it, but it allowed us to come to almost like peace with ourselves. Like, I don't know.
Number 16, assuming everyone hates me or is mad at me.
Oof, it's a good one.
That one's definitely more of mine. I 100% do this like on a daily basis. Will assume that someone at any given point of the day hates me, even if it's just a stranger at the gas station, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
And if I really think you hate me or really think you're mad at me, I will cry about it as a mom.
Which makes it even worse because you hate it.
I know.
You hate the crying.
It's terrible. But yeah.
No, that's real fair. I have a little bit of that too. I do think this last year at least, I feel like I didn't have time to care as much as I did in previous years. Yeah. Like if I really thought you're mad at me, like, yeah, for sure, there's some autofill. But like, I was just like, okay, tell me if you're mad at me. I'm going to go over here. I got shit to do. Like, I don't know. It was just different for me this year.
I feel like this is one of those things that my brain just makes time for.
Yeah, no, it's like, it doesn't matter. You're going to feel this. Yeah. That's real. That's so fair. For 17, the need to feel like I'm 100% on for my business. And I guess what that means for me is just basically, I really care about my clients and I really love them and what I do for work, but sometimes the work-life balance is really hard and I feel like I have to be 100% all the time for my clients, and rather than running and operating like a business, I'm running and operating like I'm just like a friend or, not in an unprofessional way, but just more like their access to me. Yeah. They have access to me as if they would a friend rather than a business. And I need to work on that. So pretty easy.
You need operating hours.
I do. And I actually have to hold myself to those operating hours. Because if you look at anything online, it says I do. But realistically, I don't. Yeah. So that's, I feel like this one's a big one. Our fear of commitment.
Our fear of commitment?
Don't even try me right now. Would you like me to speak then?
I mean,
well, I think that the fear of commitment is real for a lot of people, and it's not as bad as it sounds.
I don't think it's an actual fear of commitment.
Okay.
I feel like that sounds extreme.
Okay, what do you think it is?
I think that we don't have a fear of commitment.
What do we have a fear of then?
I think that it's a very sound fear.
Do you feel like we're more so just carrying the trauma
I think it's just that we're not 21 and naive and thinking that every marriage ends in the grave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think it's a fear of commitment. I think it's just the ability to be realistic and wanting to be sure.
That's fair. I won't lie. It's hard to like say, oh, I have a fear of commitment, because it doesn't quite feel like
I don't think it's an actual fear of commitment.
It doesn't quite ring true, because we've discussed many a times, like, I'm a monogamous till I die. Like, I am like,
yeah,
I'm all in. But I think the reality of the commitment, it hits harder this time, because when I got married at 20, I was in la la land about it, versus getting married now. I understand how people get divorced. Because even if I'm like all in 100% to the grave, my partner could still wake up one day and want a divorce. Like, it's just,
that's what I'm saying.
There's just something with it.
It's just a little more like, we're more realistic and logical about the situation. It's not that blind naiveness about, the situation. Like,
will I get married? Absolutely. Like, am I scared to marry the person I've chosen? Absolutely not. It's not about the person or really that aspect. I think maybe it's not the fear of commitment. I'm trying to think, because it's not the commitment itself that we're scared of. It's what could happen we're scared of.
It is scary, the idea of tying yourself to another person. If it were to end in another divorce, those bitches listen, a divorce is not easy or fun.
No.
A divorce is not a walk in the park.
Even if it's the right choice for you, even if you feel more free in some way, like, the emotional highs and lows of a divorce and the actual like time, energy, money that goes into it is just so draining.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a very big decision to make. And I think that now, 10 years older than we were when we went into it last time, I think that we understand the gravity of that decision.
That's a great way to phrase it.
So I don't think that it's a fear of commitment. I think it's an understanding of what it is that we're doing and not taking it lightly.
Yeah. I think it'd be easy to look at a divorced person and say, like, they don't take marriage seriously, but it's quite the opposite.
Yeah.
And I know there's like a statistic that more second marriages fail. And I think part of that statistic is that if you've done it before, you could do it again. That's the logic concept behind it. And I do understand that, because if we were able to leave the father of our children, like, I understand why that would make sense on paper, but I think through us going through this season and getting divorced, it just really helped us refine our scopes.
Yeah, I agree. Trying to do it all alone.
Yeah,
I never ask for help.
I rarely do, and then if I do, I feel immense guilt.
Yeah,
and I try to give back sometimes.
Yeah, I just be out here freeballing it until I'm frazzled at all ends,
until somebody like me or your mom or force ourselves in.
Yeah.
I
feel like I got a little bit better at asking for help this year.
I will say you did ask me, not often, but you did ask me.
I think I did.
I think that it's easy to do when that's how you lived your life. It's just an easy thing to do, and not to like get all deep and weird with it. But I mean, you were the oldest child. Like, the weight that moves on with you in life, and then I can see why. I can see why you went that way with your in your old age.
In my old age.
You're almost 30. Yeah, I think for me, it is about asking for help, but I think it's also being realistic with the expectations I put on myself. Not trying to do it all, and not trying to do it all by myself and all at once and be this superhero mom, hybrid, business owner, wife person that I'm supposed to be. Like, I just need to give myself some grace and relax the expectations and not be so hard on myself. And if I need help, ask for it.
Yeah.
So, this is another me one. Number 20. I'm leaving behind the hesitancy I have to suggest something new in the bedroom. Which it's kind of a funny one. But I was thinking about it. I was like, what is something that I want to do more of next year? And I I would say that I want to try new things. Like, I guess maybe it's just us talking about all your kinks and shit. Like, I'm not going to be a full on kinky girl like you. I think through talking about it, it's not that I think like I don't have no qualms with my sex life. Super happy, satisfied. It's not like boring or basic by any means. It's not a more like I'm scared like thing. I think that sometimes I don't even like the word assertive, but that feels like the only word, like assertive or like the first to say something about if I want to, if I have an idea. It's just more so go with the flow. I don't know if that's the right way to put all that, but I don't know. I just want to try to be a little more brave and try new things.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Because, this part we can cut out if you don't feel like he would want it in here. But I feel like a lot of times, sometimes guys aren't necessarily going to be the first to suggest something. Like Bryson, I don't think he was the first to come to you and be like, let's try this kinky shit. But like as soon as he got on board, like he was down with it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's not that there's anything wrong with what we have going on. It's just more so I want to like, I don't know, I want to explore some options and see.
I think you should. I can send you a list.
Yeah. We already did technically talk about 21 because we talked about it earlier because 21 was not cooking. We tied it in.
Okay, number 20. So technically we're on 22 now.
Yes.
Saying, I'm so stressed and busy, but not doing anything about it. This also like goes with tired.
Yeah.
Saying, I'm so tired. We do say this a lot.
One time my sister tried to tell me that it's not that I'm busy or don't have time. It's that I don't prioritize, and I got really annoyed.
Remember that.
I got so annoyed. I'm not saying she's wrong. It was just more like, shut up.
I remember that, actually. You were really pressed about that.
Yeah.
You were real mad.
Well, you know how it is when you're like feeling underwater and somebody says something to you, even if they're valid or right, you're just like, shut up.
Especially if it's your sister.
Yeah, we know. I mean, if you have a sister, you know. Yeah. But it's a real one. It's hard, I think.
It's a real one. But that's kind of, it's like one of those mindset things.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be the big mindset one we work on this year.
Yeah. I don't think we'll leave behind. It's not that deep and you're not that special, but we'll just add on. Yeah. We'll have a little, like...
we'll come up with a little quip.
Yeah. We'll come up with something.
Number 23. Stop wishing I was the fun mom and actually be the fun mom.
That is a big one for me.
I think that it is for me, too.
Yeah.
I feel like I have so many fucking kids, and it stops me from doing a lot with them because I'm so outnumbered.
Yeah.
And like realistically, they're pretty good in public. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot that I could do with them, but just the fear of being outnumbered in public with them stops me from doing a lot with them.
I totally get that. I've only taken our 4 kids out like once or twice by myself, and I remember how it wasn't like I was mad at them. It's just like there's so much more to manage. So I understand that.
But they're so good.
You have such good kids. I miss them so much. I can't wait to see them. I've been missing them so much. Like I miss my son so much too, but
I want them to come home
I want all the babies.
It's been like 2 days.
No, I think for me, my son is such a fun spirit. Like he is so spirited and he's got so many ideas and so much adventure and it's such a vast imagination. I get a little caught up in the day-to-day stresses and our routine and our schedule. And I think those things are very important. But I also just want to have fun with him. Yeah. And it's something honestly that I kind of resented my son's father for, is that he only really wanted to be present for the fun stuff or the discipline stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't really do much of the in-between. And so that was always really hard for me because it felt like I just never had a space either. So fast forward to where we're at now, I just want to have fun with him. Like I just want to embrace his imagination with him and follow his lead sometimes and not be that stressed about certain aspects. Like if bath night waits a night, it's okay, but it's really hard sometimes on my head. Like I just want to be the fun mom. I want to stop saying that one day I will be. Like I think it's similar to like the busy and not doing them out. It's like I think in my head sometimes I'm just like, oh yeah, one day I'll have time for this, one day I won't be as stressed, one day work will slow down, one day XYZ, fill in the blank. And I just I don't want to just wish for it anymore. I just want to like live it.
Yeah.
And are we on our last one?
We are.
I mistyped it. I'm sorry. I was reading it and I was like, what the fuck did I write? Money blindness. So we're leaving behind money blindness or just...
Not being intentional.
Not taking control of finances, making sure we're saving.
So I think that both of us while we were married, like didn't actually have to be super, super intentional with money. And then I think we both have kind of agreed that like our first year on our own, we both realized that we had no clue how to like budget and save and like do all the things, and like had to figure it out and realized that we had no financial literacy whatsoever. And you're on year 3 and I'm
almost year 4
and I'm on year 2. And so like we're going into this and I finally feel like I'm at a place where I can actually like start saving legitimately and like, you know what I mean?
You
like,
got up from under the water.
Like last year was the year where I actually like learned how to be a person who knows where their money is going. And so this year I just want to be like more intentional and like spend more time learning about how to save and where to put the money and like, you know what I mean? Like I want to be a person who sets up 80-year-old Alyssa for success. And like my kids want to go to college. Like I don't know how to save for college yet. You know what I mean? Like I want to figure those things out. And like
I understand. I started to dabble in figuring out what I need to do because I don't have a traditional job where I have a 401k and insurance and all these options. I have no benefits. And I feel like within that first year, similar to what you said, I got my finances pretty in order. I figured out what I need to do. And then I kind of got to a point where, I don't know, I think I just like hit a wall. Like it's not so much about like budgeting and saving anymore. It's just more so like, I don't know what to do with the rest of it. It's more than just having some money in the bank. Like there's definitely investments in life you need to make and things you got to figure out. And I mean, you can have the idea, but putting it into action is just different.
Yeah. That's what I want to do. I want to be intentional with it. I want to put money places where it'll grow. Like I want to figure out how to be active with my money instead of just giving it all
not
to
like,
Target.
Not passive with it.
Yeah.
I lived paycheck to paycheck for a long time. I mean, when I was with Preston's dad, we had no money, like constantly overdrawn. I had no idea how we had so little money. Because technically we should have. Like he had technically a real job, his words. And even though my job wasn't what he considered a real job, I was still making some money, you know? And it just never added up. It never made sense. And so getting out of that and figuring out that I actually had some money I could save, I think that just like hyper focused me into, I have to save every penny, because I was like the scarcity mindset for a little while. And then I think I kind of opened up to more like, okay, it's a little safe. We have a little breathing room. But with that, you still have to find the balance too, because you don't want to spend it all at Target. Like you said, you just got. So if I had more intentional means with my money, I think it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave that one behind, I think.
Yeah. We're going to figure it out.
Wow. That was a heavier list than I thought. Like talking it out, it was heavier. It sounded so easy on the notes app. It's just like, oh yeah, la la. No, that was a little heavier than I thought it was going to be.
It was a heavy year, I told you.
And yet we still found some joy with it.
It was a good year.
I think we said in the last episode, it wasn't, it was a bad year, but we found ways through it. It was just, our mindset really helped. So if that's one thing we can encourage you to take into 2025 is that it's not that deep. You're not that special mindset. It really worked wonders for us. Or find a, little thing that works for you, a little quip.
Yes. But anyways, that's all the things that we are not taking into 2025 with us. And we'd like to hear yours. Drop them. You can send us a text message.
You can send us a text.
Click the link above the episode description.
You can send us a DM. You can technically send us submit a contact form, email us. You have so many options.
Please just talk to us.
I will say we've been having some people talk and reach out. It's been really fun.
It's been really fun.
It means a lot. I mean, I know I've said it, but every single time we're like, oh, okay, like, let's see. And so we got, today, won't say who, but we got an idea today for an episode I'm really excited about. So we're going to start exploring that behind the scenes, and hopefully we will be talking about it soon.
But, Happy New Year's Eve.
Oh yes. Happy New Year's Eve. We will see you in 2025.
We'll talk to you next year. Bye.
Bye.